Hey, it's Wyatt. You know what? Humans have evolved a lot over time, and it all happened because of Mario 64. You know, they always tell you that everything used to be in black and white, just like old movies, and that's true, but just like that, everything used to be in 2D as well. That's what the NES and Super Nintendo were actually replicating. So, yeah, that's right, we, the human race, evolved because of Mario, bitch. I suppose you could say Mario had a somewhat long history before he went 3D. He was around for 15 years, and just like with any 15-year-old, puberty was coming his way. He started off as Jumpman in Donkey Kong, and then starred alongside the better brother, Luigi, in Mario Bros. Then he hit the big time. The Mario series transformed into the pioneer of the platforming genre. You run and jump, just like any good police chase. The first few games followed mostly the same formulas besides Mario 2, since, fun fact, did you know it was based on Doki Doki Literature Club? Of course, the graphics were getting significantly better over time. I mean, look at the jump from Mario 1 to Mario 3 alone, and these games were on the same damn console. Super Mario World was the very first 16-bit game most of us ever saw, and this was an even bigger leap. I mean, this is gorgeous. Let me update my Tinder. I'm only into girls who have 16 bits. 8 bits are not my thing. Mario was looking really good, if I do say so myself. Besides the Game Boy games, of course. Those were no doubt fun games, and it was certainly impressive that these games fit on a goddamn slab of concrete, but they had to compromise for the processing power of this thing, and couldn't make the games look quite as good. Alright, time to update Tinder again. If you classify it as a Game Boy, I'm not interested. I'm only interested in game girls. What, do I look gay to you? Don't answer that. By 1996, people had a pretty good idea of what a Mario was. A hammer? He used a fat little man whose right side of his head we couldn't see, and we loved him for that. I don't know who we is, considering I was -9 years old at the time, but that just shows how much I love Mario. That's right, I loved him before I was even born. However, our world was about to be shaken up with the introduction of Nintendo's brand new 64-bit console. Let's take a look. What is this? What the f is a polygon? Why is he so caked up? Why can't I mutilate his face? I think I can safely say that my mind was freaking blown. Games can look like this? Better yet, things in general can look like this? Yeah, remember what I said earlier? The day Mario 64 hit the market was the day the beings of Earth became 3D. Now, with some nostalgia goggles, you might think this game looks absolutely amazing, and for its time, sure, it did. If you say that to me now, I'm gonna say that you have cataracts. Up until this point, most people thought Mario only had the left side of his entire body. This was absolutely revolutionary for games as a whole, going as far as introducing the camera, something used in most 3D games nowadays to change your view. But just think about this. Since this was more or less the first 3D game, people didn't understand the concept of a camera. Therefore, they had to make the camera into an actual character that follows you around in order to explain it. That is so bizarre to think about. Anywho, compared to the games of today, yes, this looks like shit. Hell, I've shit logs that were more graphically intense than this. Mario has all kinds of jagged corners, and when he gets too far away from the camera, he turns into whatever the hell this is. But look, it's fine. This is evolution. These things take time. Maybe he'll get his bearings eventually. Oh. Regardless, I can't really blame Mario for the way he looked. These were just the limitations of the Nintendo 64, and this was one of the very first games, no less. Sure, some of the later games on the console are more impressive because developers had more time to get used to the hardware and learn how to program for it. Like, I think the Banjo-Kazooie games look pretty damn good. And honestly, most games by Rare were probably the best looking games on the console. Banjo, Conker, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, etc. Some games also chose not to go full 3D, so they inherently looked better. See, I firmly believe that 16-bit games are the ones that age the best. Super Mario World, Super Metroid, A Link to the Past, these are all timeless games that still look great to this day, and I wouldn't bat an eye if they were released today. Now, I may have said I can't blame Mario for how he looks, but that's not exactly true. Sony was using discs for their PlayStation console since they could hold a lot more data than a cartridge and were easier for developers to work with. Nintendo, on the other hand, stuck with cartridges. I guess it was probably to save money, but I'm sure they could have made the games look a lot better if they had more storage to work with. This led to a lot of third-party developers barely supporting the console since they would rather develop for the PlayStation. Anyway, let's shift gears. Picture yourself in 1996. You've played every Mario game up to this point. You know what he looks like. What kind of man does he strike you as? Like, you're telling me he sits on his ass and eats spaghetti, and then he can move like this? Hell, I can't even move like this, and I'm somewhat healthy. This was a big moment for Mario. This introduced his crazy acrobatic abilities that would go on to be in most 3D Mario games after this, and even some of the 2D ones. He can do crazy high triple jumps, backflips, somersaults, and long jumps. Just who is this man? Something this game introduced that never came back in this capacity, however, is the fact that Mario is a GTA protagonist. You can literally beat the shit out of enemies, and it's insanely satisfying. Oh yeah, speaking of long jumps, let's talk about the backwards long jump, or BLJ. Shit, I thought that was a sandwich. It's an infamous glitch in the Mario 64 speedrunning community. The BLJ itself isn't a glitch, it's not that hard to do, but the things it causes are the real glitch. By long jumping just right, Mario hits crazy fast speeds that can cause him to go through stuff. This is used to get to the final boss early. You BLJ up the endless stairway to Bowser and voila, you're there. I was always intrigued by this as a kid, and I would try to pull it off, but kids are dumb. Anyway, I think it's time we ask the question, what's this game actually about? If you said Mario had to rescue Princess Peach, I'd say, who the fuck is that? Yeah, we may know the princess as Princess Peach today, but she was always called Princess Toadstool before this point. After this game, however, she pretty much took on the name Peach wherever she went. So basically, Mario gets a letter from Peach who has invited him to eat cake with her. Oh, I'm sure Mario would love that. So Mario goes into the castle, but Bowser's like, so I kidnapped the princess again, but I hope you can forgive me because I fucking love art. I'm making entire worlds inside of paintings. You should really check this out. So Mario does just that. He explores the 15 worlds within the game by jumping into various paintings, collecting the power stars inside, and going on his merry way. Now let's talk about these worlds. First world is one of the most iconic ones for me and most people. Bob-omb Battlefield. For the very first time, we get to see Bob-ombs in 3D. Oh wait, they're just flat sprites, never mind, okay. This was something that happened quite a bit in the Nintendo 64 era. The racers in Mario Kart 64 were also sprites. Anyway, you walk around this grassy area, pass a chain jump, get hit by water balloons, climb a huge mountain, destroy a giant Bob-omb, and race a Koopa Troopa. I think this is a pretty strong first level with a variety of things to do, but how the hell does throwing King Bob-omb off the mountain not kill him, but throwing him onto the mountain does? Nintendo logic! Whomp's Fortress is also pretty iconic to me, and I guess Nintendo thought that as well, because they ended up remaking this level as a galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy 2. I mean, sure, but why? Bob-omb Battlefield is definitely the more iconic level, and it's a lot more open too. It would have been a ton of fun to run around it freely in the Mario Galaxy engine, but whatever. We still got a Bob-omb Battlefield remix, so it's all good. Similarly to the first level, your first objective in Whomp's Fortress is to climb the level and fight a giant Whomp. This is something you'll see a lot in these levels. The first star is often just get to the top. Then you do that again, but there's bullet bills now. I'm gonna be honest, I forgot there were bullet bills in this game. They're just so forgettable. There's some more cannon stars where you have to shoot yourself into a wall. Like, how would you know how to do this without a strategy guide? Who decides, yeah, I'm gonna shoot myself into a wall and see what happens? Oh wow, a star! You also get to ride with Kaepora Gaebora from Ocarina of Time, who drops you into a cage with a star in it. Oh yeah, in each level, one of the stars is to collect 8 red coins that are scattered across the level. These red coins give you 2 coins each, and blue coins give you 5, and trust me, that's important. The game doesn't outright tell you this, but there's an extra 7th star in every level. There's only 6 main stars per level, but if you collect 100 coins in level, you get a star for that. I typically do that and the red coins at the same time because the 100 coin star is the only star in the game that doesn't take you out of the level when you collect it, similar to how moons work in Mario Odyssey. If you can get some blue coins, absolutely do, because they're essential to getting the 100 coin star, and sometimes if you miss them, it's impossible to get the star. You don't necessarily have to do the 100 coin stars if you don't want to though. You don't have to do a good chunk of the stars actually, 50 of them to be precise. To have your final showdown with Bowser, you really only need 70 stars. But if you want 100% of the game, you have to get all 120. I don't know why Nintendo likes this number so much. There's 120 stars in Mario 64, Sunshine and Galaxy, and there's also 120 shrines in Breath of the Wild. Like, it's a cool number, but not that cool. Anyway, back to the levels. Jolly Roger Bay is the first water level and is home to some amazingly peaceful music. Nintendo games always seem to have amazing water music. Jolly Roger Bay, Aquatic Ambience, Zora's Domain, and the list goes on. In this level, you get to invade a sunken pirate ship, steal a star from a terrifying eel that only got more terrifying in Mario Odyssey, open some treasure chests in the right order. If you don't, you get shocked, and make your way through a huge jet stream of a certain power-up, but I'll get back to you on that. Cool Mountain isn't as cool as it seems, but it is kind of cool, I guess. You get to go down a snowy slide while racing a penguin, bring a baby penguin home to its mother, or just throw it off the edge, and reunite a snowman's body with his head. Big Boo's Haunt is the only ghost-themed level in the game, but it honestly isn't that great. I like what they were going for here, and it could definitely be a little creepy for a kid, but half of the stars here are literally the exact same thing, just in a different place. Explore the ghost house, kill all the ghosts, then kill the Big Boo, get a star. Go into the merry-go-round, kill all the Boos, kill Big Boo, get a star. Go to the balcony, kill Big Boo, get a star. It gets a little repetitive, and it really makes me wonder if padding the game out to 120 stars was really necessary when some of the stars are this lazy. A few of the more unique stars are hitting these books in the right order and running around this giant eyeball so fast that he literally dies, but for some unique stars, they aren't that interesting either. Hazy Maze Cave has always been one of my least favorite levels. It takes the concept of the underground levels from previous Mario games and makes it into an unfun maze. First, you go down into the caverns and ride a dinosaur thing named Dory to get a star. This one's actually okay. Dory's kind of cute, so I don't mind. Totally a ripoff of Tessie from Earthbound, but whatever. You have to use these conveyor belt-like platforms to get 8 red coins, and let me tell you, getting the 100 coins here is hell. You have to navigate a toxic maze not just once, but twice to get 2 separate stars, and then you have to avoid giant boulders coming at you. This level's just not fun at all. While we're on the topic of Hazy Maze Cave, I'll talk about the power-ups. There are 3 main power-ups in the game. The wing cap allows you to fly after doing a triple jump, but your altitude drops pretty quickly. You can also start flying by shooting out of a cannon after getting a wing cap. I'll be honest, I don't like flying in this game. I mean, sure, I guess flying might actually feel like this, but it's a little annoying to control. I think Mario Galaxy did it a lot better. The metal cap turns Mario into Metal Mario, who would become the start of a huge disease infecting the Mario Kart series. Metal Mario can walk through the jet streams and the water levels, doesn't get damaged by the toxic maze, and can just walk underwater. Lastly, when Mario uses the Vanish Cap, he turns invisible and can walk through anything. This is used to get through closed cages and such. Back to the levels once again. We have Lethal Lava Land. There's not much going on here, but I kind of like it for some reason. It just looks like someone threw a bunch of shit in a lava lake. It really doesn't make sense, but it's not a hard level. You get to go toe-to-toe with bullies, get 8 red coins and a Bowser puzzle, walk on a giant log, or just ride a shell around the place and have fun. You can find shells in boxes or by killing Koopa Troopas, and it's a lot of fun to surf around the level on them. There's actually a second part to this level, the volcano. Not much to say here, it's a volcano. Shifting Sandland kind of sucks, but I don't hate it as much as some people do. Your hat can be stolen by this bird, and if you leave the level without it, you won't have your hat still, and you'll have to go back into the level to get it. You get to navigate a giant pyramid that I don't find super enjoyable, especially because of this one goddamn star. You have to activate these 5 secrets to get a star, but to do so, you have to fall off these ledges onto the next platform, but because of how trash the camera is, I can't tell where I'm gonna land, and I miss the platform every single time. Sorry about that. You also find Andross from Star Fox 64, or something. Dive Dire Docks is the second water level, but it's nowhere near as good as the first one. You have to get the first star here to access the second Bowser level, of which there are 3, and the reason for this is because Bowser's submarine is here. Once you get the star, I guess he retreats or something? I honestly don't know what beating the first star represents, but whatever. Then everything else is just Jolly Roger Bay, but on a budget. More chest puzzles, more jet streams, more metal cap uses, and manta ray farts. Snowman's Land is the second snow level, and honestly, it might be on par with the first one, if not better. As always, the first star is just climbing the level, which happens to be a giant snowman. When you get to the top, he tries to blow you off, so you have to ride this penguin to get across. You have to kick an ice bully's ass, explore an igloo, navigate an ice maze, and go shell shredding for red coins. Overall, fun time. Now, I used to hate Wet Dry World. First of all, what does it even represent? This just looks like someone went to Home Depot and dropped everything they bought in a lake. But after actually playing through it recently, I found that this is a pretty enjoyable level. You can change the water level depending on the situation, so it's kind of a water level. There's also a little town with some red coins, so that's interesting, I guess. I know I don't sound like I like it that much, but I just don't know how to describe it really. Now, on the other side of the coin, I used to really like Tall Tall Mountain for some reason, but now I realize that it isn't great. It's just a barren level with a few mushrooms and a monkey that can steal your hat. There's another slide here, but people don't seem to remember it as much as the other two. There's also a star on this random ass mushroom in the middle of nowhere. You have to shoot to it from a cannon, but if you miss, you're screwed. Yeah, there are many other levels I'd rather play before this one. Now, I used to hate Tiny Huge Island as well, but it's not that bad. There are two versions of the level. One is huge and one is small. Depending on the star, you might need to be in one or the other. The level itself probably wouldn't be too interesting without that though. It's just a bunch of grass and not much else. The stars are kinda cool though. You have to fight a bunch of giant piranha plants, you invade a Wiggler's home and nail him, and you get to race Koopa the Quick again. Okay, Tick-Tock Clock is really cool. You're inside a giant grandfather clock, and depending on what time the clock shows when you jump into the level, the speed of the mechanisms will be slower or faster. I really like this level. Granted, most of the stars are pretty similar, but it's just such a cool concept. Rainbow Ride is the last main level in the game, and it sucks. You have to ride this carpet everywhere for some of the stars, and if you leave it for even half a second, it gets jealous and disappears. You have to do some platforming while on the carpet, and if you mess up, you're screwed. The rest of the level isn't as bad, just some regular platforming stuff, but those first two stars with the carpet immediately turned me off from wanting to play the rest of the level. Also, the 100 coin star here is horrendous. You have to wall jump to get these blue coins on a time limit, and if your depth perception is off and you miss all the coins, you're screwed. There are a few extra levels that don't count as full-on worlds, such as a slide with famous music, an aquarium area, the levels where you get the wing cap, metal cap, and vanish cap, and a level where you have to get 8 red coins as Wing Mario while following rainbows. Lastly, the Bowser levels. These are all pretty similar, it's just straight up platforming with obstacles and enemies, nothing too crazy. These are pretty enjoyable levels though. Honestly, they kinda remind me of the secret levels from Mario Sunshine. I know that came after this, but you know what I mean. When you reach the end of these levels, you have to face Bowser himself. The first time is pretty easy, just grab his tail and throw him into one of the mines and he's done. This is where the famous line, "So long, gay Bowser," comes from. The second time around, he can teleport for some reason and the stage tilts. He only needs one hit still. The final battle is the real deal. This time he takes 3 hits and he'll charge at you from across the stage. Honestly, I didn't think he could do that with that BMI. After hitting him twice, the stage starts to collapse, leaving it in a star shape. This gives you a lot less throwing room, but in the end it shouldn't be that difficult. Now, if this game is so good, surely it's been re-released, right? Well, it's not really that good, as I've just discussed. Don't get me wrong, it's a highly enjoyable game. I mean, it's Mario. This is the formula for everything that would come after it. Of course it's fun, it might even be the most replayable Mario for me. But compared to what we have today, no, it's not that good. That's all to say, hell yeah, it got re-released. The game was re-released in 1997 in Japan, this being called the Shindo Pack Taiyo version. It added support for the Rumble Pack, fixed the BLJ glitch, and changed So Long Gay Bowser to Bye-Bye. Ah, I understand. They realized that we thought Bowser was gay, so they had to elaborate that he was in fact bisexual. This is the version of the game that's in Super Mario 3D All-Stars, the mediocre collection featuring Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the collection. Good games are good games, but I just wish there would have been a little more care put into the collection itself, like the menus and stuff. Like, look at Kirby's Dream Collection. It has Obama. Does 3D All-Stars have Obama? Yeah, that's what I thought. The game also got a remake on the DS that added plenty of new features, but I'm not gonna talk about that for now. That might be saved for a future session of Wyatt Talks to Himself. You're probably familiar with ROM hacks, people modifying a game's ROM to completely change some elements of the game. I feel like Mario 64 is one of the games that has the most ROM hacks. I mean, I've seen so many of them over the years, and many of them are literally brand new games made within the game's engine. Super Mario Star Road, Last Impact, etc. There are also some smaller scale hacks, such as one that adds Cappy from Mario Odyssey as a mechanic, and one where Ocarina of Time's map is literally reworked to function in Mario 64 with brand new puzzles and stuff. ROM hacking is such an amazing community with hard-working people, but it's a shame Nintendo isn't a fan of stuff like this. I mean, Sega literally hired these kinds of people to work on Sonic Mania. Why can't Nintendo be the same? Lastly, I want to talk about some of the rumors and conspiracy theories that have surrounded this game. Oddly enough, there's been a lot. It all started back when the game first released. Everyone thought it was odd that Luigi wasn't in the game. I mean, they're literally the Mario brothers. Luigi had been in almost every Super Mario game up to this point. It was a huge rumor that Luigi was in the game somewhere, but we just didn't know how to access him. IGN offered to pay $100 to whoever found Luigi, but no dice. The biggest push for this rumor, however, is something that's haunted the internet for ages. If you're in the gaming scene, and especially the Mario scene on the internet, you probably saw this a long time ago. People believe that the message on this statue in the courtyard said, L is real 2401. L was thought to mean Luigi, but 2401 was a huge mystery. Did it want us to collect 2,401 coins, or what? Of course, no such thing would happen, because Luigi was never in the game to begin with. However, in 2020, something happened. There were some huge leaks regarding Nintendo. Plenty of unused assets were found from Mario World, Pokemon, etc., but most importantly, Luigi. There were assets for Luigi in Mario 64 in these files, and a multiplayer mode was originally planned using him. The kicker? This happened in July 2020, which just so happened to be 24 years and 1 month after the release of Mario 64. That ring any bells? 24 years and 1 month. 2401. It's entirely possible that this was just a coincidence, but it seemed too perfect. It's time to switch away from Luigi though and talk about another character. Also in 2020, many conspiracy theories sprouted up regarding Mario 64. This kind of stuff is my jam and always has been. I remember back in the day being invested in a rumor that Waluigi was a secret playable character in Mario 64 DS. I was interested in plenty of creepypastas too, including ones based on Lavender Town from Pokemon. You probably know the one. Anyway, someone created a chart known as the Super Mario 64 Iceberg. You've probably seen icebergs before. In this case, it was grouping a lot of rumors and theories about the game into varying categories, with those lower on the iceberg being more far-fetched. One of these big rumors was the Wario apparition. During E3 1996, Charles Martinet voiced a disembodied Wario head, and many believe that this Wario apparition was still in some copies of Mario 64. This led to a huge conspiracy theory that blew up. Every copy of Mario 64 is personalized. There are many interesting, albeit fake, videos about this phenomenon, mostly just ROM hacks that claim to be real footage from an unaltered copy of the game, showing that every copy is indeed personalized. But hey, that's all creepypastas ever were, fake, but interesting enough to grab your attention. Not that this is necessarily a creepypasta, but it does unsettle me a bit to think about these copies being personalized, and some of those videos I speak of are actually a little creepy. Oddly enough, many people have claimed that they truly remember seeing the Wario apparition in the game. Chances are, they're batshit crazy. Or maybe there's more credence to this theory than I initially thought. I'll leave that decision up to you though. And that's about all I've got to say about Mario 64. It is a bit of a dated game, but of course it is. It came out 30 years ago. But it's still a fun game to pop in and play every once in a while. Yeah, so remember when I said that when Mario 64 came out, the human race and everything else on Earth became 3D? You want to see what we looked like in 1996? How did they live with this?